Good morning. Good morning.
Good, man. Beautiful day. We are about to hear from a very powerful speaker, someone who's very acute in knowledge and details, Diane Eisner. She was born many years ago. We won't say how many.
She was born.
She owns and operates a business in the community called Accountabilities. She has a BS in accounting from NYU. Her favorite pastime is running with the Hash House Harriers on the roads and hills of Orange County. Okay. She lives in Portola Hills, has two gremlins named Houdini and Tara. Diane's dream is to travel around the world twice, once on each hemisphere in 2018. So we have time to gear up. All right. Introducing this powerful speaker for today, and the title of her speech, Barter. Here's Diane Eisner.
I don't know too many people in this room who could live up to that introduction. So I'm going to talk about bartering. What's happening now is the IRS is looking for new streams of economy. So it's one of the things that they're looking at, and of course they send out pronouncements normally to people like me who are interested in the business. So what is bartering? It's the exchange of goods or services, generally without cash, between individuals and businesses. What the IRS says is that you need to keep accurate records of what you barter, who you barter with, and you must also be responsible for reporting. So, on a one-to-one basis, generally, someone say Ron has a cleaning service, and I have an accounting service. Ron will clean my house in exchange for, or clean my office in exchange for my accounting services. That's a one-on-one barter. If Ron conversely cleans my home as opposed to my office, then I've actually gained income. Either way, the IRS wants you to report that bartering transaction. Not only do they want you to report on your income, they want me to tell. There's something called the 1099-B, which is a bartering exchange form, and the IRS is looking for that from barter exchanges. So if you sign up with a barter exchange and you think you're actually going to gain income without reporting income, you're wrong. Because the 1099-B goes to the IRS and to you at the end of the year, telling the IRS how much in goods and services you have exchanged. Now, in a bartering exchange, you can also earn before you actually collect. So, I've bartered with the exchange for credit card services with Chuck. But Chuck and I are in direct barter because I don't use credit card services. Chuck's actually bartered with someone else, and I've actually done that transaction with the other person. So at the end of the year, if one of us has not collected what we've put into the barter exchange, you actually still have to report it as income. You don't, but you also have associated expenses. So Chuck has the expense of running his service, Ron has the expense of running his service, so you still get to deduct the expenses. And in a one-to-one professional exchange, normally if it's, say, Phil doing your accounting, your taxes, and me doing your accounting, that would be a fair exchange. Both of us would report $200 or whatever the value of the service was, as well as the expense. The only time you actually run into a problem is if you're exchanging professional services for personal services, because that becomes a taxable event to the person who is getting the personal service. So Susie sells cosmetics. She actually decides that someone who does marketing she's going to exchange cosmetics for marketing services. Susie actually would have to pay the taxes, the sales tax, on the product that she bartered. The person who is doing the marketing, if they have a taxable sales tax event, would also have to provide the state with the sales tax. However, each of them gets to write off their expenses. So Susie's cost of cosmetics becomes her write-off, and she would reduce her inventory by the amount that she exchanged. Is everybody asleep yet? Okay, it gets more complicated. So Steve over here has a financial planning group. So he knows that I'm incorporating my business and I need some financial plans. So I decide I'm gonna give him stock in my company in exchange for his services, because I'm going to be the newest, the best, the hottest thing in Orange County, and I'm gonna make a mint. And Steve actually believes me. So I give him stock in my company in exchange for his financial planning services while I'm building the company. So what Steve has to report is the actual stock value of my company when I exchange with him. And that would generally be it would be equal to what I would normally charge, what he would normally charge me for those services. So Steve charged me $1,000, and instead I gave him stock. So at the end of the year, he would have to report income of $1,000. But he also has a value for that stock. So when he sells that stock 10 years later for $5 million, because I was the hottest, the newest, and the best, he gets to deduct that $1,000 off of his profit. So whoopee yay.
It's only $4 million.
So that's one of the reasons that record keeping, when you come to a barter exchange, becomes so important. All right, so let's see, we had another, Debbie Hallgarten has an apartment complex, and Maria just bartered 6 months worth of rent for decorating and painting the entire apartment building. So Maria now has 6 months worth of rent as her income. Debbie has 6 months worth of rent as her expense and her income, because it's cost her, or actually it would be the expenses on the building, because it's cost her to run the building. Maria has a place to live for free for 6 months, but she also has the income. Since it's personal, that income becomes taxable. So does anybody have any questions about how that might apply to them? Okay.
What did you say?
So the barter exchanges, they're huge. I mean, there are people who are doing thousands and thousands of dollars worth of bartering, are a great advantage, because generally you might wind up with business that you wouldn't normally wind up with. So what you're hoping for is that you're going to be doing personal services and you're going to be getting them at a discount, because it's either your time or something that's cost you less than you would normally have to pay for that service or that thing, because you do barter actual goods as well as services. Bartering exchanges are, the thing that brought it up was we were offered a barter exchange at one of my networking meetings, and basically what they do is their profit is only on the amount of business you actually get through the exchange. So say I did $1,000 worth of business, and their cut would be 5% or whatever their cut is. They would only make money if I actually exchanged business with someone else in the network, which was kind of a cool way of looking at it, because that becomes your advertising expense, and it's not lost because you only pay on completion of the job. So it's the oldest form of commerce, not the oldest profession, but the oldest form of commerce. So if you actually are into bartering and you do barter your business services or your business goods, find a competent accountant who will keep your records for you, keep you clear of the IRS, and will help you through the myriad of little quirks and valleys that the IRS has put in front of you for bartering. Thank you very much.